There was a lot of fanfare last season over the Ned and Edna pairing, and you guys did that whole vote. How did that turn out? Did it turn out with the reaction you thought it would get?
It did, and it was an extremely one-sided vote,
Really?
which I can't reveal because then that would defeat the whole purpose of this, rating stunt. But what happened was we were pitching the story out, and almost always on our show when a couple gets together or Lisa gets a pony, we break it up. We go, nope, it's got to go back to the way it was. And we thought we were pitching ways that, would break up over religion or whatever. And then we said, maybe it would be more interesting either to let it stay or, to let the fans who have a lot of interesting things to say about the show get a vote for once. And so we did that. And fortunately, what they wanted is the same thing that we want. So it isn't a joke or a trick. It's what we're going to do.
So do you have a set number of stories for either potential? That, like, okay, if they stay together, we're going to go do this storyline. If they don't stay together, we're going to go down this route with them?
Well, the premiere was already set. It has Kiefer Sutherland playing a secret agent who is retired and comes to Springfield because he thinks it'll be quiet, and then gets drawn into like all the horrible stuff in Springfield. But we obviously, reworked it to put in the answer to the Nedna question, and then like anything else in the show, it's just what happened. The result of it will be feathered in, with at least one episode dedicated to it through the season.
So what else can you tease about what's happening this season?
Well, we have a Halloween show where Homer gets paralyzed by a spider bite, like the movie The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. And for people who think that may be too obscure, I'll say he can only communicate by farting. So it's not too highbrow. Joan Rivers plays herself. Jeremy Irons plays a character very much like herself. Annie Dubinsky is the character's name, but it's Joan. We have a show where Jeremy Irons plays Moe's bar rag, and it's really, really touching. Jane Lynch appears on the show, Michael Cera. And Bryan Cranston is a secret agent who appears only to Homer to help him improve his love life with Marge.
Oh,
so
dear.
These are among the really terrific guest stars we've got coming up.
It's always impressive how every year you guys seem to get more and more guest stars. Like, at this point, who else could you get?
Well, we're always, like, Bryan Cranston's somebody where we go, we had a really big, part for a guy who had, a really cool voice. And we'd never worked with him, but he's great. So it's just amazing how many people like that you can approach and say it's the Simpsons, and they'll say yes. And, it's just Jeremy Irons, Joan Rivers, just saying who are people that you really admire, that you really think are talented, that you have something that would fit.
Yeah. Well, I know, obviously, you said Kiefer's coming to the premiere, and he's been on the show before. Is there any guest stars you'd kind of like to revisit, either in a new role or reprising their role?
We have a story, although this would be for Halloween next year, 2012, where we're going to do a Back to the Future type story with the way Homer met Marge, so then John Lovitz would reappear playing the guy that Marge, would have wound up with and does in this alternate future scenario.
Well, I mean, Back to the Future's in the news these days for their shoes, so it'll be timely again.
Well, what's so odd about that movie, I think that the second one was set in the future, which was 2011 or something, so I go, now we're in the future. It's not quite what I pictured.
Yeah, I mean, the movies don't make it out to be what it seems.
Yep.
And are there any, with the Ned and Edna storylines, if that goes forward, obviously she used to have a relationship with Principal Skinner. Is there any kind of relationships you'd like to touch back on again, whether it's them or someone else?
I think that the Lisa Milhouse relationship is one that people really believe in the future of that couple, unfortunately for Lisa. And I keep thinking as the series goes along, we trend towards them, ultimately being married in the future.
And would you, ever consider having them, if you're going to show them in the future of getting married, would you think about aging them at all?
Well, we do have a future show. We've done this a couple times.
Yeah.
We have one now that's a Christmas future episode that will air sometime in the future. And in that show, yeah, Lisa and Milhouse are married, and he's even more Milhousey than he is now.
Oy, that's more like his father then?
It's Christmas, and he's allergic to Christmas, so he has to go, this is in the future, to one of the Sharia law practicing states.
Is there anything else you want to tease about what's coming up for fans?
The 500th episode is in February, and we'll feature some special guests, and who I can't say now, but the basic premise is that there's a secret town meeting the Simpsons don't know about, and when they crash it, they find out it's devoted to kicking the Simpsons out of Springfield for all the crap they've done in the last 499 episodes.
Yeah, and it's not been time passing, so it's been a lot of stuff in a very little amount of time for them.
Which would be, yes, a lot of destructive, costly damage to the town and annoyance that they finally get caught on.